Hello. This is my first time going live via YouTube. So if this is the first time you are seeing one of my videos, I am Lisa Medley. I'm an executive coach, and I help Black women lead with confidence. And today I wanted to come to you live to talk about creating simple email communications. Now, as I mentioned, I'm an executive coach, and therefore I work with a lot of executives, but I also work with folks who are in the middle of management, so middle management to senior level. One of the things I hear often from my executive and or middle manager clients is that the emails they receive are long and drawn out, and basically we're busy and nobody has time for these long drawn out emails. And so I was creating an email this morning to one of my executives, and I thought this might be a good opportunity not only to test my live streaming, but also to get in front of you and talk a little bit about, just for a few minutes, how you can maybe streamline your email communications to be sure that they're read, right? So I'm going to share an example. And as I do that, the first thing I want you to, as I pull up my screen, the first thing I want you to do is to remember that your executives, right, the people you are communicating to, even if they're not executives, people are busy and they just don't have time for a lot of detail and reading through thick paragraphs, right? So the first thing I want you to remember is you need time. You need time to really focus on what you're going to say. I spent about 30 minutes on the email example that I'm going to show you. And it's really because it had a lot of moving parts to it. And I wanted to make sure that this executive could focus and hone in on what was most important. And so remember, you need time. You need time to sit down, craft your thoughts, draft out, work through your head what you're trying to say. Don't just get on the computer and start banging away at your keys, because your message will become convoluted if you don't give it enough thought. So I'm going to share my screen. Whoops. I don't want to stop sharing my screen. I shared the wrong thing. Hang on. I want to share an example. So in this example, I was sending, as I said, an executive an email, and it's got a lot of different things. So one of the things I do is I offer 360s. But when setting up a 360, the leader has to choose their competencies. The leader has to choose their raters. There is a certain amount of competencies that they have to choose, a certain information I need about their raters. And so I've got all this information going on in one email. So first thing I want to point out is you need a really actionable subject line that's going to call to their attention. So I want this person to know that this is an action I'm requesting, right? And this is related to information required for your assessment. Now, because we had just talked about this assessment, this individual that's going to pop out like, oh, okay, because I let them know it was coming. The second thing is bottom line up front, bluff, bottom line up front. So the first thing I say is time to launch your assessment. And then I give them a little bit about what we're going to be using, right? And then boom, action requested. And so I highlighted in yellow what I really want him to pay attention to. I put a date because executives, senior leaders really like to have a by when. I am date driven. I do things, I prioritize things based on when they're due. So I always provide a piece of detail up front, talking about when the item is due. And then 2 deliverables. Email me your competencies and email me your raters. And here's what I need about you from your raters, or here's the information I need about your raters, the first name, last name, blah, 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 right? So if he chose to not read anything else in the email, he's got everything he needs right up front. Now I draw a line, right? And I hope by drawing a line, he knows that everything else below is kind of ancillary, secondary kind of information, right? And so I give him a little more detail about the competencies and a little more detail about the raters. Now, I could have laid this out in a paragraph format. And in fact, I had it laid out differently, but that's back to my first point. I took the time and I read, which is my third point, read, reread, and reread. Read it out loud. Look for words that are unnecessary. So I kept backspacing and adding and moving things around to take away these long, stringy sentences that really get confusing and frustrate people, and they just close your email out. So that is it. Again, a great way to test my video capability and my going live, but also giving you a little bit of information on how to keep your email simple, especially when you're communicating to senior leaders and executives. I hope this was helpful. Again, my name is Lisa Medley. You can find me at lisamedleyec.com. And please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am on a roll, people. Until next time, see you later. Now, if I could just figure out how to